In this video, I'm going to show you a new video switcher that looks really promising. This is the new GOSTREAM from Osee. Last year, I had purchased an Osee 17-inch production monitor to use in our studio where we make pre-produced video content, and I was really impressed with it. Great build quality, incredible brightness, nice picture. Overall, I was really happy with their monitor. So when Osee reached out to me about a new video switcher they were releasing and asked if I'd like to take a look at it, I was curious. This is a new type of video I may do more of here on my channel from time to time. It's going to be more of a product review than a tutorial. Usually in my videos I try to show you how to do something, but sometimes in a video like this I just want to show you a product. So I'm calling these Ballast Media reviews. You may see some of these on my channel from time to time. And full disclosure, Osee sent me this switcher. I don't have to return it, but they haven't paid me anything for this video. They also don't have any editorial say into the content of this video. They'll be seeing it the same time as you. Right off the bat, this video switcher might remind you of an Atem Mini. And you'd be right, because what Osee told me they set out to do is make a video switcher to not only compete with the Atem Mini, but their goal was to provide features that the Atem Mini line is missing, and at an amazing price point. When I first heard that, I was skeptical. The Atem Mini line of switchers works pretty well already, but when I actually got the switcher and started playing around with it, I actually think they've hit the nail on the head. What they've added aren't just bells and whistles. These are features that you will use. This switcher will integrate into a small or medium-sized church's live stream video workflow in many ways better than an Atem Mini. This model has 4 HDMI inputs at the back for your cameras, 2 HDMI outputs, and those outputs default to program out and a multi-view out, but you can reconfigure that and assign other things to these outputs as well. There are 2 USB-C ports. These can be used to send your video to a computer, so if you decide to stream with something like OBS, you can use the switcher as your video interface through OBS to send the program out of the switcher to your computer. And then you could still use the second USB port as a camera input from a webcam. Interestingly, you can also select what goes to the USB output. You can route one of the inputs directly to the USB output, so you could use it as something like an ISO recording, or you can assign the preview bus or even the multi-view. The network port, if your internet connection can handle it, can be used to live stream directly from the video switcher to up to 3 destinations simultaneously without using a computer. And that is a big part of the design of this video switcher. Unlike the Atems, where you pretty much have to have a computer to run the Atem control software to do any configuration, or in a lot of cases, even just to operate many of the features of the Atem switchers. With the GOSTREAM, everything can be done from the switcher. There is a menu button on the surface that brings up a menu in the multi-view, and you interact with the menu using the knob, scrolling and clicking the knob to make selections, and using the menu button as a back or exit button. The menu is pretty intuitive and well laid out. Sometimes only having the scroll and click capability is a little clunky trying to figure out if you're editing a parameter or moving around the options. But you'll pretty quickly get the hang of it, and I really like having all the setup and configuration of the switcher available without having to connect to a computer. Across the front, you've got 2 rows of input selection buttons. The program bus on top, so pushing one of these takes your camera live immediately on the program output, and the preview bus on the bottom. Selecting one of these puts your input on the preview bus, and then you can transition to it using the T-bar or the auto or cut buttons. The preview bus buttons are a welcome addition over the Atem's 1 row of buttons, because now you can set up your keyer on the preview bus, and the buttons to activate your keys are also here on the control surface, and you can do all the setup of your keyers in the menu without having to use any software. There are 2 keyers, one upstream and one downstream keyer. You configure these right in the menu, again all from the switcher and right in the multi-view. You can set up live streaming directly from the GOSTREAM to Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, Boxcast, most of the usual destinations. Configuring live streaming is probably the one area where having everything done through the menu on the switcher makes things a little more difficult to set up, but once you have it configured, it's really easy to start your streams. The one kind of tricky part of getting your stream configured is that you copy and paste your stream key into a text file that you put on the SD card of the switcher, and then you select that text file in the menu when you are setting up your stream. But once you configure that the first time, it's pretty simple to start your streams after that. And the SD card slot adds a number of really useful features. The most obvious being you can record your video output to the card. You can configure the data rate it will use, low, medium, or high, then just hit the record button on the surface of the switcher to start your recording of the program output. But beyond recording, we can also playback video from the SD card. So that could be something you previously recorded on the switcher itself, or you can copy any H.264 encoded video to the SD card and select that for playback. That's done through the aux input. At the end of our row of 4 camera selection buttons, there are a few smaller buttons, aux, black, and still 1 and 2. Black is pretty obvious, and the stills are 2 images that you can load from your SD card, and the aux is an input that you can configure to come from a few different sources. The USB webcam input, the SD card playback, or NDI, and I'll talk more about the NDI in a minute. If we set the aux to playback, now if we hold down the play button, we'll get a pop-up in the menu area that lets us select which video file on our SD card we want to play when you tap the play button. This would be great for a pre-show video you want to play before you're actually live. Maybe that's an announcement loop or a welcome video. Another really cool feature on this switcher are these memory buttons. These are macros that you can record. Basically any configuration changes or button press sequences that you do on the switcher that will then be repeated back when you press the memory button. You long press the memory button to get into recording mode, then when it starts flashing you can pretty much do anything you want on the switcher. Then press the memory button when you're done to store whatever you did. For example, I have my memory 1 and memory 2 buttons set up so that when I press 1, it switches my aux input to playback from the SD card and even changes the name in the multi-view. Then when I press memory 2, it switches it to NDI input and again updates the name in the multi-view. So for me, depending on what I need the aux input for at any given moment in a production, I can quickly change. Maybe at the beginning of a service, I'm playing back a pre-service announcement loop. Then once the service begins, I can switch the aux input to come from the NDI and use that for my overlays. These macros are really great for setting up your keying. You can record all the key presses needed to configure the key inputs, all the way through fading it over your video, which you can now recall all at the press of a button. One of the coolest potential features of this switcher is the ability to set up the aux input as an NDI source. If you're not familiar with NDI, it's a way to send really low latency video over your network. And where I think this could be amazing for the switcher is to use it to bring your lyrics in from your presentation software to be overlaid over your video, without having to use one of the 4 video inputs. All you need is to have your projection computer and the switcher on the same network. One of the limitations is, as far as I can tell, the switcher will only take NDI-HX, which is the compressed version of NDI. I got this working by installing the free NDI tools suite from NewTek on my projection computer, and then using the screen capture app, but setting it to the HX version. Back on the switcher in the menu, under Settings and the Source selection, you can set the aux input to NDI. Then you can select the aux input as the source for the keyer, and now we can overlay our lyrics over our video. Now, I will say I've had some issues with the NDI input locking up on me. The input will freeze. It works perfectly until it doesn't. In the few months I've had the switcher and been trying it out, I've gotten several firmware updates from Osee, so I'm hoping they can get this running stable because this will be an amazing feature for churches to bring in their lyrics. One missed opportunity I think where they could have really improved upon the Atem Mini is that audio still comes in through 1/8" stereo headphone type jacks. I wish they'd swapped at least one stereo pair out for a set of balanced mini XLR jacks. It would make for a much more professional connection. But at this price point, with the extra features that Osee has added, if I were looking for a simple 4-channel video switcher for my live stream or video setup, this would definitely be at the top of my list. You can find a link to purchase this video switcher in the description of this video through an affiliate link that just goes to help out the channel some. Also, if you'd like to see more of this switcher, maybe a full tutorial video about how to set it up, let me know in the comments. Until next time, bye.